Welcome to Through the Eyes of Survivors Uncensored. You know, there are stories that shake the world, and then there are stories that expose the world. And some crimes are so dark, they are so calculated, so drenched in power and privilege that it doesn't just break laws. They break our trust in the systems. They We're supposed to protect us. They force us to confront the truths that survivors have always known. When the powerful prey on the vulnerable, justice bends, and sometimes justice hides. And tonight we're talking about one of the most notorious examples of that exact truth, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, his name was whispered like a rumor, then dismissed as a conspiracy, then protected by elites who didn't want their own shadows exposed. But survivors, journalists, advocates, we all refused to stay silent. And the world began paying attention. And now, for the first time, the truth that was buried for decades is being forced into the light. The House voted, the Senate agreed, and the Epstein files bill is sitting on President Trump's desk, ready to become law right now. This matters for survivors everywhere, not because it's political, but because it's proof that silence can be broken, proof that powerful systems can be confronted, and proof that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, still wants to live. So tonight, we're going to go uncensored. We're going to talk about Epstein, the files, the trafficking, the corruption, and what it means for survivors out there who are listening. So let's get into it.
Important notice: the following content may be triggering. Viewer discretion is advised. All discussions are based on personal opinions and experiences. If you or someone you know needs help, please reach out to a local support organization.
Well, welcome back. We need to just take a few quick moments to promote our affiliates. So we'll start with TrueFinder. It is something that can really empower you on your journey towards safety and healing. It's a simple tool that helps you uncover public records and background information about people you may encounter in your life, whether you're reconnecting with someone from your past or you just want to ensure the people around you are trustworthy. TruthFinder provides you with the information you need to make informed decisions. And here at Through the Eyes of Survivors, we're all about creating that kind of safe space and you being informed, giving survivors the tools they need to reclaim their power. So that's why we're excited to share TruthFinder with you. It's a tool that helps you control your own security and peace of mind. So try it out and support our podcast. The links will be in the description and in the comments. Opus Clip. We're partnered with Opus Clip, which is an AI-driven platform that helps turn powerful podcast moments like we're going to have today into short, impactful clips. From survivor stories to hard truths, Opus Clips help to amplify our voices here at Break the Silence and spread awareness across multiple platforms. So if you want to turn your content into scroll-stopping reels or shorts, try Opus Clips through our affiliate link. And lastly, the Self-Defense Keychain Store. We're proud to partner with them. as an affiliate. This is a woman and minority based owned business that is committed to empowering individuals with practical, discreet, and stylish self defense tools. And by shopping through their affiliate link, you're not only investing in your personal safety, you're also supporting our mission to amplify survivors' voices and raise awareness about domestic violence. So use the link and enter the code Write the Silence for your additional 10% off. So, all right, Amanda, we're back. This is a very hot topic for sure. I know we've
Absolutely.
been waiting for this one to drop for quite some time watching that
Yes.
in
Yes.
our realm. So I think let's just begin by talking about, in case some of our viewers don't know some of the details behind Jeffrey Epstein, just to give a little background on the story before we start getting into what's happening right now with this legislation, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Epstein definitely um, was a man with enormous wealth, influence. He rubbed elbows with all the right people, um, but he had a lot of like unexplained financial ties for sure. And he wasn't just some rich guy with a private island, right, Amanda?
No. 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 Even though that's what it seems right now to the public. You know, when you bring up Jeffrey Epstein, you hear island, and that comes to your mind. But he did have more connections, more business, more kind of being known in the wealthy and celebrity world, not just for that. He had a lot of connections with very powerful people.
Yeah, all the hottest celebrities, all the best politicians, all the people with money. But he was a serial predator operating a trafficking network that targeted vulnerable girls, and a lot of them were underage.
Yes.
And he manipulated them. Most of them were young ladies who needed money,
Hmm.
who had unstable homes or difficult circumstances. He targeted them.
Absolutely. Even just young women who just wanted to pay for college,
Mhm.
who just was making honest money to pay for college because they didn't come from a wealthy family and they weren't able to, you know, there were promises that were made to these women that were not what it seemed to them until they got into this position with this man.
Yeah. And he knew exactly what he was doing. I mean, he had the biggest politicians, celebrities, even the royal family. That was recently in the news. Prince Andrew stepping out of the royal limelight
Yeah,
because of his connections.
which is huge. Which is huge.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And he knew how to choose those victims because he did it for decades. And he knew exactly how to, choose uh, the people who would protect him. So, yeah, um, Amanda. I mean, let's talk about some of how that grooming worked.
Oh Jesus. So again, these women, as I said before, um, were basically told that they were going to be given money for coming over and working for him, but none of the implications of working for him were supposed to be sexual. Um, as Tara said, some of them were underage, some of them were barely 18, turning 18, just looking for money for college or was had a bad home life and were runaways or just trying to make it out on the world on their own. And this man, think about it, okay? This man, and I can even say as a young girl, when I saw men that were older than me when I was 18 or 19, I saw a father figure. And not in a perverted way, more of just like, oh, he reminds me of someone that could be my dad or my uncle, someone that's just talking to me like a younger woman, not hitting on me. So I fulfill these women saw, oh, he just has this money and he's just trying to help me. They were naive, and especially if you're coming from a broken home
And you're a
or
young girl. Yeah, they're giving you gifts. They're
Yeah,
telling you how beautiful you are.
oh, absolutely. And he's probably paying these girls before they even got on the plane. He probably was showing them, I'm going to guarantee you that I'm going to take care of you before we even do this, because I'm sure they were nervous. Anybody's nervous, right, Tara? I mean, like our first jobs, even at a McDonald's, were nervous. So think about trusting someone solely on their word. And these girls were. And then they go over to this island and they're meeting all these powerful people, people that they know. Some
Yeah.
people they don't. But
Well,
there's
not even in the island. He had a residence in New York. He had a residence in Nevada. I think he even had one in Florida. I
well, that's
mean,
dangerous. He was global. That's basically nationwide, right, Tara? He was just hitting
nationwide, but
all.
I do think he was global as well with it. And
Yeah,
wow, you're getting these gifts. You're getting this opportunity for schooling. You're getting this opportunity for mentorships, modeling,
yes,
your
yes.
art. And there was some of the victims were artists, so you're getting the best, best of all of these things,
The best in the world. And things
all
that
done by coercion.
right. I mean, think about it. Some of these girls were experiencing things they never experienced in their lives, from, the being taken care of and luxury and not having to worry about their bills. I mean, I know when you grow up financially, struggling, and you sometimes, when you get comfortable in that, you're like, oh, I really would like to stay in this. And he probably didn't present the sexual side at the beginning with the money. And probably, again, that's how they grew. They don't put it in your face right away because they know that you're going to back up.
Mhm. Absolutely. And in the chat, definitely express your feelings in there, because I know we sure do have a lot of them.
Feelings.
But but what even made it even more insidious is he had that Ghislaine Maxwell helping him. So you have another woman.
That's what infuriates me, Tara. Ooh. Guys, I'm telling you, that has been the sickening thing for me over these years, with when it comes to these situations, knowing that women are helping these men because women trust women more than we trust men at times, especially women with trauma, especially vulnerable girls. Oh, well, she's really nice and she's really, like, she wants to mentor me and she's like a mother figure.
Yeah, yeah, she's coaching them, she's transporting them, she's finding these young ladies,
I mean,
and
she's recruiting them, as you just said.
yeah, she's recruiting them. What a sweet deal it must have been for him. My goodness.
I mean, just to have a woman on your side that indulges in your sins, right? And but also recruits.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm sorry for the faces I'm making right now, guys, but I can't even get through.
Yeah, Amanda and I do not have good poker faces. That's for sure.
I was going to say, the one thing about me and Tara is we are not going to sit here.
I know, but the system did catch up with them for a little bit back in 2008. Florida did a plea deal, which was a slap on the wrist. Imagine why. I can't imagine why he got a slap on the wrist. Can you? I mean, it was a sweetheart deal, and it sealed everything behind closed doors without survivors' testimony, without their input, without anything. And it protected all the names of the co-conspirators with him. And that's the big thing that has put the files into the limelight, because of these co-conspirators are what so many believe that the government is terrified about right now if it's exposed.
Correct. Right.
So, in that deal, I know that he made it so that he took the deal, but part of the deal was no co-conspirators would be sought as far as for prosecution. Which, to me, I can't imagine why in the world the system allowed that kind of thing to happen.
There should have been no reason.
No, none.
None.
None. And then he's arrested again in 2019. Federal sex trafficking charges. And many of the survivors during that time believed they were going to get seen and they were finally going to get real justice. And then, ta-da, he's dead in his cell.
Yep. Yep. Oh no. Right? It's like no more voice, right? And everybody kind of just
Yeah,
stalls.
yeah, and there's lots of conspiracies surrounded about that. I don't want to get too much. I mean, some people are like, "Nah, he didn't kill himself," and some people are like, "Yeah, he killed himself." But it's just um, very different. Definitely a different, an advantageous time for him to be silenced, whether he did it or himself or someone else. So people are very upset about that because the facts are the cameras malfunctioned, the guards fell asleep, the most high risk inmate in the country just happens to die before naming names. I mean,
It's like it was so everybody was just like, this is too coincidental. This is too. And then it just stopped for a minute, Tara, right? It just kind of went
well,
quiet.
they moved on to Ghislaine, and they arrested her, convicted her, sentenced her to 20 years
Correct.
for
Yes.
the crimes, which that proves the crimes are real. That proves that this is involved with multiple people, not just him. But her trial was very controlled. It was, and
Yeah.
the list of who all was in there has been protected. It's never been fully released. Never. So that is where we begin into what's happening now, right?
Hmm.
So, yeah, Amanda, you want to talk about that? About where we're moving now, as far as what the government is doing, because the people have been speaking. We've been speaking for quite some time, yelling, "Release the
Right.
files! Release the files!"
Right. Absolutely. And so here we are making some movement towards this, right? So on November 18th, which was yesterday, the United States House Representative passed a bill, which was a really huge vote. Me and Tara, we were speaking about this. It was 427 to 1 vote.
I was like,
Um,
"Wow, they can actually vote and agree on something."
we were
Yay.
amazed. And we double checked twice because I said, Tara, I was like, this is a high percentage of numbers, but I mean, that's strong. Guys, think about that. That's a strong. The United States Senate also agreed in unanimous to consent to approve the release version of sending it to the president's desk. So right now, the president has pledged to sign it, meaning it's supposed to become a law, assuming no last minute changes, and then the release of the files begin.
Mhm.
So basically, that's where we're at. Is we're kind of waiting for President Trump to go ahead and sign that.
Right.
What this bill mandate means is that the United States Department of Justice will publish this. This will be searchable, downloadable, all classified records, documents, communication, investigation, materials related to Epstein, including Giselle Maxwell's,
Mhm.
and then the flight logs, travel, and individual names within the 30 days of
Yeah,
attachment.
yeah. So that it's supposed to be within 30 days.
Yes.
And once it becomes law, which we know how slow the Justice Department moves, but yeah, like Amanda was saying, the PDFs that are supposed to be released are travel logs, financial records, investigation documents, communications, names, except for the victims. The victims'
Mhm.
names are supposed to be redacted to protect them.
Yes.
Ties to Maxwell, and the past immunity deals and non prosecution agreements. So that's what's supposed to come down. Now, I'm a skeptic at heart, so I'm very much of the opinion of, yeah, how much are they going to redact?
Right.
But
Right.
uh, it's a start, and for me, it's a big deal because it was motivated by the people. It was
Mhm.
pushed by the public.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Survivors, guys, advocates. This is big.
These survivors held on. There's survivors who died before they could see this happened. And
And that,
yeah, before they could see this even go this far. And they've had to really use their voices to get things moving. So, but they can redact. They can redact. They're going to redact the victims' names for sure. Um, and they'll redact stuff like personal identification information or information that may be tied to open investigations, which Lord knows how much of that they're really investigating, but and anything that has like national security exceptions, but we'll see. But it is historic, that's for sure.
oh yeah. Yeah, this is a big deal.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely historic. But I know we as advocates and other advocates out there are very worried that the government is going to over redact this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And that is a fear that we all have because unfortunately, if this system was just, I don't think it would have been drawn out this long. I think, and that's our skepticism. That's our skepticism. That's something that we want to see. We don't want to hear.
Hmm. Yeah, because that's just, we all know the system works. Those who have money, those who have the power, those who, yeah,
Right.
they're going to continue to protect those individuals as much as possible. And then they only serve up whatever fall guys they want to serve up in the end.
Right. No, and that is, as you said, there's only so much that they want us to know. And then I believe that they're going to try their hardest to make sure that there's certain things that they can really try to not be released if they cannot. So I'm really hoping, as you said, Tara, that this is big. But again, I hope that the people that need to be in there are in there, not being protected.
Well, and the transparency in this case with Epstein
Mhm.
is really indicative to the system needing exposing that has enabled these people all these years. And
Absolutely.
it's a huge symbolic. This case is symbolic of what we see daily trickling on down the line. So, yeah, it's it really exposes how all the institutions look the other way.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that to me, how? How? I mean, with this much behind it too. It wasn't just one, two. I mean, there was so many people involved in this
Mm.
hush hush and in the keeping of this, and I just don't know how. And it does. It to me, Tara. It's disheartening, but it's not surprising, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's disheartening, but it's not surprising. And as again, the more power, the more money, the more high up resources you have, the more hush you have. The more, unfortunately, the more power you have in the legal system, the more power you have covering up things that you shouldn't be doing. And again, as we spoke about who he was at the beginning of this episode, this man was a very powerful person, but he was a very well known, trusted person by very powerful people, not just celebrities, politicians, and millionaires, and other people that had so much more. So I can't seem to understand how people don't understand how this couldn't have been something that was hidden either. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It just, he was so much, he had his hand into so many things. This wasn't just a guy that had money and did business well and, socialized well. There was more to it. There was
mhm.
more to
There's a lot more to it. There,
it.
I'm sure so much, and we can't even. I mean,
We
because
can say,
nothing has been there. There's a lot of people in the background. He had to have not just money and backing, that, but definitely influence even stronger than him,
oh,
helping him. And there are ties to that. So
absolutely.
this is that's why it makes it huge. It makes it such an international ring. Um, let's just look at a few of the comments real quick before we
We're
take a
getting
little
some
break.
movement.
So Mr. Jim says, so much evil and injustice, it continues on and on without resolution or justice. Without justice, there's no deterrent to choose who would commit the same crimes and even more. This is why we can't let this go.
Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely agree.
I agree with that 100%.
Hmm. Yeah, and Leslie said they will try to say you're crazy so your testimony won't be believable. And that is exactly what they did to these women. Or tried to get you picked up for mental health, picked up to control the narrative. Make
Yes.
sure you make police reports, non emergency and emergency. So get advocacy and see a counselor. That will take notes for evidence as well, restraining orders as well. Absolutely.
Yes.
Excellent advice, Les.
Very good advice.
Yeah. Kimber says it is so disgusting. These evil people need to be brought down. Justice needs to be served. I agree because you see this too often. You know
It's not too
the
much.
Johns or whatever you want to call it. They never get held accountable
Oh,
in these kinds of
and
instances.
and the sad part is this has been going on for so many years and we didn't even know. And now it's coming out to the point where I agree. They need to be held accountable.
Hmm. Yeah, and this, like I said, it's been going on for decades. I know Leslie included in here about previous presidents involved, congressmen, entertainer. Yeah, all of that, decades worth. You know,
Oh yeah.
this is bad as what was that one? Harvey Weinstein.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
this is bigger than that even. So,
Yes. And that was a big,
mm,
yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. And Jim says again here, unfortunately, when our government drags issues out, this long justice never comes. The outrage of the American people gets put off, eventually forgotten. Corruption and evil politicians and judges perpetrate the reoccurrence of these types of issues time and time again. Yes, definitely agree.
I agree.
Definitely agree. So we thank y'all for just commenting. Leslie sending.
Absolutely. We love when you guys don't.
We're sending that to Leslie for sure. Leslie, you have all our love and support of what you're going through. We're going to take our mid-roll break real quick. Do not leave us. We have a very important little video we're going to share with you every Christmas. I'm reminded that holidays can be incredibly painful for children who've lost a parent to domestic violence. And I know that feeling personally after losing my daughter and unborn, granddaughter patients. The holidays are some of the hardest to get through. And that's why we have our Holidays of Hope program. That's why it exists. We want these children to feel seen and remembered and supported. So, if you are a grandparent or a family member of a child who has lost parents to domestic violence, our applications are now open for those families who need help this season. And we're also accepting sponsors and donations to make sure every child receives a meaningful gift this Christmas. So if you'd like to sponsor or donate, we have links to the applications and everything in the episode that you can use at your discretion. And we're going to do a quick video on our holidays of hope, and we will be right back. All right, we're back, and we want to thank you for helping bring a little hope to these families who are hurting this Christmas with your generous gifts. So back to our topic. So the second half, we kind of want to move from Epstein to a bigger conversation about trafficking here in America and how that works and how closely it intersects with domestic violence, right, Amanda?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I don't think that they talk about a lot how that happens actually in your own home with your own spouse. Um, and that is something in domestic violence that is used as an abuse, as manipulation tactics, as a form of control, as a form of sexual abuse. So that is something definitely that I think Tara isn't needs to be talked about, especially in times like this, especially when these kind of things are brought up on the news.
Mhm. Well, and you've got this broader scope. Let's put this broader lens on it. Like, Epstein recruited, he groomed, he coerced, he financially exploited people, used transportation across borders, right? All the use of a network, that this huge network to maintain this operation. So, um, trafficking here in the U.S. isn't limited to just these organized criminal networks, even though that's what we hear about most of the time.
Right, right.
We hear about those being trafficked across the border both ways. um, we hear about uh, that scenario every day. But like Amanda said, how much of it happens inside our homes, inside marriages, relationships? People don't really even realize how much of that happens within a relationship, and they don't even really think of it as a possibility. But a lot of domestic violence survivors have this happening in their homes. It's not somebody being kidnapped off the street all the time.
No,
And that's the
no.
kind of thing the public has a perception of, right? This kid or somebody has been kidnapped off the street. This person was taken and they're forced into this
Right.
way of life without any help, without any hope. That does happen.
It
It does.
does. It does.
It does. And I mean, in that area, there are some really good statistics Amanda and I were looking at. You want to touch some of those for everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, as we were talking about, I'm so sorry, Tara, my thing went blank. I was trying to look at the statistics.
You need me to touch on the
Yes,
statistics?
you touch on that.
Yes, we took some notes on the statistics. I wanted
Yes,
to
and
make
my
sure
thing,
it
and I'm
was
like, oh, where did it go?
accurate information. So, globally, it's estimated 27.6 million people are enslaved in human trafficking today. In the US, 200,000 or more minors are trafficked every year. 1 in 4 trafficking survivors experience domestic violence first. That was a big one.
That's insane to me.
Over 44% were trafficked by their romantic partner. Um, Family controlled trafficking accounts for nearly 40% of minor cases. That means aunts, uncles, parents, stepdaddy. Family controlled 40% of minor cases. It's who they know.
Hmm.
So those statistics were like the things that really stood out to us on how in the world, like I said, you don't even really connect it.
No, you don't understand it. You don't know what's going on because they're so good at manipulating the situation for you not seeing what the situation is. Because they don't want you to know what the situation is.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, I know I have a very good friend who lost her daughter as well to domestic violence. And part of what she speaks out a lot about is her daughter was trafficked. The man had 3 children with her, but yet um, he was forcing her into, sexual acts for money, for drugs, for the rent. Yeah, and she had no choice in those matters. And unfortunately, that is happening out there every day.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's really insidious.
Yes. It,
Uh,
it,
yeah, go ahead.
it's more common than what people think.
Hmm.
And as you said before, Tara, the paying for rent, the paying for bills, they might do the tactic of, you're not bringing in money.
Hmm.
You're a stay-at-home mom and we're not making bills.
Yes.
I can't keep providing for this family. So the least you can do is do so and so we can make, and if you're a mom, you're going to make sure your kids are going to eat.
Yeah.
And when the father of your children is making you feel accountable for that, and I know that does not seem very sound minded to make those choices, but you're not sound minded in domestic violence.
Uh-uh.
And this is another manipulation tactic that you don't know is happening unless you really step back.
Yeah. And a lot of that is, Amanda and I were talking about that because we have a little bit of some of this, where we see in the background some of our exes were probably trying to lead us in these directions. And
Mhm.
thank God it did not happen. But mine was very pushy on swinging. He wanted to swing. He wanted to swing. And God love you if you love that lifestyle. That's your personal decision. But when you're in an abusive relationship, 9 times out of 10, that is not your choice. That is something they're coercing you into. That is
No.
something they want to push you into because then that is like a door opening. Here's my friend. Let me watch. Here's
Right.
this. Just once, and it's not other women; it's other men they're wanting to bring in, and like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's a stepping stone to see
Mhm.
how far they can get you to go because the next thing is they're going to rope you into this for money.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in my story, I can remember it more being more of, let's spice up our love life. Let's, bring someone else in. Then it became where it was more, let's put you on a website and and that's where I was like retracting because first off, I've always been very morally conscious about stuff like that. And I kept crying to him saying, I love you and I only want to be with you and you're the father of my children and I can't be with another man. And it was so weird to me. And he brought a man over one time like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was so, and at that time, I could tell you, Taryn, I could tell everybody who was listening here, I did not know that he was coursing me for more. I just again thought he wants a threesome. He's a swinger, like there. But now knowing who he is as a person, and I did not know I was being set up for
Mhm.
more. And how naive I was to it, because you are naive to it, because if it's not something that's normal. And again, I did not know that much about it until now, because again, as Tara said, I thought those things where you got kidnapped or you were a runaway, you were into really bad things like, drugs and stuff, and you were just hanging out in the bad crowd. I did not know that your spouse could do that to you.
Mhm. And it explodes. It just you never know, because like I said, with mine, he wanted to swing. The next woman he got married to, he got her into pornography and filming that for money. Thank God I was not going to do anything like that, but he went into that lifestyle, and and now he's been charged with stuff, involving children. And so again, it's the network around you that can be the most dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
people don't realize it, that this kind of coercion, they record, sexual acts without your consent, they threaten your children. If you refuse, they threaten your children. They control you. They control the money. They control the transportation. They even, in these instances, most of the time, they control where your identifications are. They have your driver's license, your passports. They have everything, your birth certificates, and you have nothing, and you have no access to them.
Right.
It's
Right.
insidious.
It's horrible. And they get you to the point where things do expire. Your license expire. Your ID's expired. If you have a license that expired and an ID's expired, you can't get anywhere. As far as, like, they take so much from you, and it's in time. It's not right away. It's not right away, but little pieces at a time.
Mhm. And when it goes into the fact of where they're actually being trafficked, like at a hotel, like my friend's daughter was or something, then if somebody gets caught, guess who holds the bag? She does.
Right.
We don't. She does. And yet she's the one who he's constantly going, "You owe me. We need the money. If you don't do this, we're going to lose everything." Right? This is what our love looks like.
You put all that pressure on me, and I need some help around this house, and you could at least do this a little bit. And not much men would trust their wives. See, they'll throw in kind of like a trust thing. Not much men will trust their wives to do this, and this is my trust for you.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. It's a setup, ladies. And
Mm,
then, you know what? And here's the thing: you do it because you feel controlled. And you know what he starts calling you after that? You're you're a You're, you're a whore.
mhm.
You sleep around. But wait, you asked me to do that. Yeah, because I knew you would, because you're a whore.
There you go.
I'm not saying this, ladies, because that's the way I feel. That's
Mhm.
because I was talked to. And I know a lot of women. And then people go, "Why'd you do it?" What? It's like, there's no winning game in this. There's
Yeah.
no winning game. It's another form of control, entrapment.
Mhm. And the emotional damage, let alone the toll it takes on
Physical.
your mind, spirit, and your body.
The physical danger they're putting you in for STDs and things that could damage you to not be able to have children, or have a health problem later down. I mean, My gosh. I
Yeah, it's crazy. To me, it's just crazy. And then the physical violence comes along,
Mhm.
and then the fear.
Absolutely.
So they use all the abuser tactics in their arsenal: the isolation, the threats,
Humiliate.
the shame. They destroy all your self-worth.
They humiliate you. They make fun of you. They make you. They're your bully.
Mhm.
You give them the most vulnerable parts of you, right?
Right.
And then they become your bully. It's such a sick game.
Hmm.
Shit.
No. What did he say? Something in there. Oh my goodness.
You said, Amanda, I'd love to meet your ex in a dark alleyway. That's why your
uh,
wife tells me that sometimes.
yeah, I have said that a few times. uh, yeah, it's just incredible. So, I mean, since we started looking at some of the comments,
I'm sorry, guys. That made me laugh. I did caught my side of my head. I started
you guys
laughing.
have been really commenting. I am
You
so
guys
glad
are
you're
awesome
here
tonight. I
commenting.
love this.
Very demonic. You're right, Leslie, and sick. Mm. Yeah, that 40% with the family, dear God, that was to me too.
That
Yeah.
was too much. I know my face was saying it all. I was like, oh, that was just.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
I think that's why we also have to watch the people we're bringing to our homes that are not family members too, like our friend circle, our coworkers. And then that's the thing. You could have a great relationship with someone at work, but you don't know them behind closed doors. So don't be too eager to let them near your family, especially
mhm,
your children, because that happens a lot too. It's people that has no means to be that close to your children, and it's happening. Some
yeah.
people will target families that have young children. They will make friends with you because they see your dynamic, and that's scary.
Kimber, I see your comment in here,
Oh, Kimberly,
and wow,
I was
Kimber,
just
I'm just so sorry that happened to you, that you had experienced some of the things we're talking about. That should have just never happened.
no. Mm-mm.
And do not give up. You do have the right to justice.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's
So,
and it is. It's horrible how people don't think they deserve the justice that we do deserve, and these
mhm.
we
Yeah,
do.
and that's the thing. So if we go back to what spurned this whole topic, Epstein, these women are yelling for justice. So I hope the files give them something. I hope it spurns investigations. It's supposed to go before Pam Bundy, the Attorney General, for investigations once this is all released. Let's pray to God she has some kind of heart and does something with it,
Please,
you know?
yeah, yeah. Please do.
Because this is just, if we can start there, but we also have to have this justice every day on the smaller scale.
We've got to make people be held accountable on both ends. It can't just be the lower scale people or the everyday, working people. We got to do this higher up too, or it's going to continue, as Tara said, being swept under the rug. But it's so much more powerful because there's so much more manpower behind it, so much more than we have.
Mhm.
We're advocates. We have our voice. We don't have millions of dollars We don't have jets and places to continue to make friends with higher ups and politicals.
Well, and it's more than that, even on the smaller scale. You know, the doctors, the lawyers, the everyday
Right. Every
people
day.
who have power in that smaller influential circles,
Even
judges,
if that, we can start there. You're right.
even in your churches, people who have
Yeah.
power there. They exploit vulnerable women and children, and the system fails them over
What?
and over. And what I'm really sick of is how society blames the victim.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm over it. Of all the things I could list, I'm over the victim shaming.
And blaming,
Yeah.
and all the things that get said. Well, they got this and this and this for that. They knew what they were getting into. No, you really don't at certain ages.
Again,
What 14-year-old really knows what they're getting into in
what
those aspects?
14-year-old would suspect a family member to put them in that harm?
That that part. You know.
And here's the thing too, what really, and Tara, me and you know this all too well, and I'm sure a lot of you out there are going to say, yeah, we know this too well. Why didn't you just say anything? And then you're like, I did say something, and you're not believing me. You're telling me I'm a liar. But then you're going to, and it's the audacity of them saying that. It's so hypocritical. I
Mhm.
did. Do you have a timeline that I didn't meet for you? Is there a booklet that we're not getting that says if we don't ring this bell or throw this flag on these many dates, like paying a bill, we're penalized? It's not real? And that's what a lot of these women are experiencing with the Epstein files, too.
Yeah.
There's no deadline on someone abusing you or taking advantage of you. There's no expiration date, guys. I promise you. So even I've seen so many. Me and Tara have seen. I know Tara's seen more than I have. Survivors come say, "Well, it's been years, so I'm really not a victim." It's been. There's no expiration date on your trauma. Should have never happened to you. You deserve healing. You deserve justice.
Yes.
I don't care if it happened yesterday. I don't care if it happened 25 years ago. There's no expiration date. None.
Mm-mm.
None.
Well, and empowerment begins with first naming it. That's the first step. Using your voice and naming it.
Yep.
Understanding those patterns that protect, you know, the perpetrators rather than the victims, and changing that. Let's start actually protecting our victims. Survivors have to start being able to hear that what happened to them was not their fault.
Mm-mm.
And that's where healing begins. That's where empowerment begins.
And that's when what women are able to build. That's when they're able to get past, but you keep them stuck in a cycle when you're telling them that you should have left earlier. You should have never been with him. You had children with him. You chose him. We told you. I warned you. She knows all that. She has replayed that everything in her head when she was being beaten, after being beaten. She knows. But when you give her confidence, you're going to give her life.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, this hour went real fast.
You guys have been wonderful. I love when you guys are in here, just engaging and
Interacting, yes.
honor. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you guys.
I'm honored with the things you share with us, those parts of
Yes.
you. So
Yes.
thank you. Um,
Yes.
Closing tonight, we talked about one of those deepest, darkest trafficking type networks that have happened in modern history, but the truth is the story is not about Jeffrey Epstein. It's about every survivor who's ever been silenced, every victim who tried to speak their truth but was ignored because the person who hurt them held more power. Epstein files won't fix the system overnight, unfortunately, but it will pull back a curtain of what's been closed for too long. And when the curtains are opened up wide like that, survivors will be there demanding answers, demanding accountability, demanding change. And if you're listening right now, you are carrying that on in your own story. And I want you to know this: your truth deserves light. Your pain deserves recognition. And your healing process, it deserves a private space for you. And we thank you for being here tonight and sharing with us, and for listening, and thank you for being a part of our community that refuses to stay silent. Right, Amanda?
Absolutely. We thank you guys for breaking the silence with us tonight.
Yeah. Now, before we go, we want you to tell you about some events coming up. We want you to be marking your calendars for all of these things, because we're coming into the holiday season and there's going to be a lot happening. So next week's Through the Eyes of Survivors episode, we're bringing a special guest, an author of a book called Detecting Narcissistic Traits on the First Date. She's going to break down how you can spot the red flags before you get emotionally invested, what early behaviors narcissists give away, how you can protect yourself while dating in the world full of love bombing and manipulation, right? If you want to read the book ahead of time, there's a link. We have that for you. You can get the book. Also, it will support survivors here at the same time by pre-ordering the book. Every single book sale through the link sends a portion back here to break the silence against domestic violence. So we're really happy to be partnering with them and help us continue to set up support for survivors, create more content like you're seeing today. You're protecting your heart and helping someone else at the same time. So mark your calendars for next Wednesday for sure. Don't forget, our Survivor to Survivor segments drop every Friday. This is where we answer real questions from real survivors, raw and honest. And I try to be very practical for you. If you're walking through something and you want feedback, validation, guidance, email us with your questions at podcast@breakthesilencedv.org. And we'll keep your identity protected. You can change your name, location if you need to, and details to get your, whatever you need. You're not alone in that. And the question may be the thing that helps someone else who's listening as well. So, if you're not already watching the Narc Diaries, you're missing the uncensored version of what it's really like to survive a narcissist. These are short, little punchy things that sometimes have some of my sarcastic wit in there. It's always real. It's where we break down what narcissists say, the manipulation and tactics, and the moments that make me go, "Are you kidding me?" As well. So the Narc Diaries are over on. They're Wednesday and Sunday, dropped around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on TikTok. So look for us on TikTok at BTSADV7. Hit the follow, turn on your notifications for those, binge some episodes over there. That would be helpful, especially if you're trying to untangle your own experience with a narcissist. You are definitely not alone. And some of that stuff over there is just, whew, I thought I'd heard it all until I've read some of the stuff that's been submitted over there. Another big thing we have coming up is on Giving Tuesday. We're hosting a live podcast marathon to help raise funds for Break the Silence. Giving Tuesday this year is on December 2nd from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be doing that podcast marathon. We're going to have special guests joining us talking about abuse, healing, justice. We're going to have some live Q&A sessions during those times. Some live things of like what we do over there on the Narc Diaries, so that our YouTube and Facebook people can kind of experience what we are doing over there, because it's unique to over there. We'll even do some live survivor to survivor style advice and conversations during that time. It's all going to be centered around raising money to support what we need to keep going here at Break the Silence. And we'd love for you to join us. Share the stream, invite your friends if you're able, make a donation that day. We have someone who is matching a certain percentage of the donations that day on Giving Tuesday. So every gift will matter on that day for sure, because it will support more survivors and keep telling the system, that truth needs to be told, right? Another thing we wanted to feature to everybody out there, we need volunteers. If you'd like to join our team, we're in urgent need of volunteers right now. So, Amanda, you're still here. So you want to highlight some of the volunteers that we need?
Oh, yeah. So we are in much need right now of our support line volunteers. Our support line is a non-crisis line that we have for people to call to get resources and a kind ear. So if you have experience with any kind of a support line or support chat, please reach out and apply. We do have training. We have a wonderful coordinator over there that will help you. And it's a great part of our program and organization. And then we are also in need of social media engagement volunteer, guys. We need people to help us with comments and messages. And then here on our podcast, we need a podcast moderator. We have one of our wonderful volunteers that helps us, but we definitely need someone else to come in and to be able to.
Yeah, we need some moderators on YouTube and LinkedIn.
And YouTube. So if you have experience and LinkedIn and the YouTube world, please reach out. We would be more than happy to have you join us. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the other one I throw in there, we just lost our Opus clip.
Yes.
I tout that affiliate, but we had a volunteer who edited these podcast clips using the Opus clip. It's real easy, and if you have some video editing experience and you wanted to help us kind of in that area, definitely join our team. We could use that for sure. So if you're interested in volunteer with us, there will be links in the descriptions and in the captions. And then one last one. I told you I had a lot. I'm sorry, everybody. We're doing a Thanksgiving late night special, but it's not on Thanksgiving Day. It's going to be the Friday after. We're going to do a special podcast that Friday after Thanksgiving at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Where Amanda and I are going to do a special Through the Eyes of Survivors Uncensored. And in that one, it's going to all be about isolation and family ostracizing during the holidays, and how to survive that and how to, navigate that. So if that's something you're interested in hearing, so many of us survivors experience that, but we rarely talk about that openly. So we're going to do that. We're going to help validate what goes on during the holidays for many of us survivors on those levels. So mark your calendars for that. Anything else, Amanda, that I may have missed?
No, I think, Tara, you really got a good bit in. So I hope that our listeners really.
Yes, we have a lot.
We have a lot going. We have a lot going, guys, and we'd love to see you guys, be involved. So.
Yeah. So thank you for spending time with us, and stay safe. Definitely stay aware, stay connected, and remember, your voice matters. Your story matters. You are never alone. And we will see you next time on Through the Eyes of Survivors.
Bye, guys.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Through the Eyes of Survivors. We wanted to pause for a moment and let you know that Through the Eyes of Survivors has a shop now open. And this is a great way for you to not only help survivors of domestic violence, but also let everyone know that you will not be silent about this important cause. From t-shirts to bags to coffee mugs, we have so much to choose from. To grab your swag, head to our store at breakthesilencedv.org. That's store.breakthesilencedv.org. We can't say enough about how much we appreciate all that the community does to help support us and this organization. So we hope you've enjoyed this episode and continue to subscribe to future episodes. Thank you.